It's time once again for the Paint It Pink Invitational to raise breast cancer awareness. I was planning to get back to my roots and do a Kool Kombi for this build, but I ran into a few problems on that build. And you may still see that, but this invitational is quite important to me. And I wanted to get something done. There was no way I was going to miss this. And so I thought, well, let's see what I can do quickly with this Hot Wheels Volkswagen T1 Rockster. It's hard to believe that it's our 5th annual Paint It Pink event. This was originally started by Diecast Outcast and is hosted this year by the Four Horsemen. I've done all 4 of the builds so far. The first year I did a Hot Wheels Silhouette. The next year was a Hummer H2. The next year was the Jackrabbit Special. And last year I did a rear-loading Beach Bomb. So for this year, I wanted to paint this naturally pink. And it's kind of close to a Kombi. So, and I had this casting handy, and I've wanted to do something with this Rockster. I like the look of this thing, and there's part of me that wants to do it in a Gasland style. And yeah, I had one that I gave away, and then I recently got this one. I was thinking about giving this one away, and then I ran into these issues with the Kombi. So I thought, well, let me have at this. And it's an interesting casting. It, as you see, there's a center plastic section. There's a metal base. That top part, as you'll see here, it lifts out. And that's the only post. Oddly enough, it's like there's this metal top section that grabs through to the base. It's a very interesting casting the way it was constructed. The glass is held in place with 2 posts. So I had to drill those out and get that loose. And the headlights, you'll see me get those out of there. There's holes where the headlights are, and they put these little plastic round pieces in there that are held in from the back. And you'll see me scrape that out here. But anyhow, back to the concept of this build. The Paint It Pink event is to raise breast cancer awareness, and it's the community's effort to contribute towards that. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and these builds are very special to me. They're very important to me. And so I wanted to do something nice. And I know a lot of people will sell their castings and have the money go to charity. I've chosen in the past just to make a direct contribution, and I'll mention that again here in a little bit. But it was interesting doing this casting for this build because it has to be one of the most interesting Hot Wheels castings I've worked on because of its construction. It's very odd the way it all goes together. And there you see me tapping that one post that's in that top rack section that holds the extra wheel. And that's the only drilling and tapping that gets done on this. And once it's stripped, I hit it with Tint It Pinkalicious paint. And you've seen me use that in these builds before. I've used it in prior years, and it turns out wonderfully. It's an odd paint, but I really love that pink color that it comes up with. And as you'll see when I do the Kombi build, that was part of my issue with the Kombi, is because of how I did it, the pink wasn't pink. It was more red than pink, and I just couldn't have that for this build. So now it's just a matter of putting it back together. On the original, the fenders are black, and there's a portion of the sides that are black. I went with body color fenders on here. It did make it easier But at the same time, I wanted there to be as much pink on this as possible. And there you see, I just, I put the glass back in, and then I put that plastic section behind it, in. And it's a crazy little build, just all the different pieces to it. I love the detail that they have on it. That detail is all Hot Wheels work. I really, all I did was paint this thing pink. And I did paint the center portion of this scoop black. I think it was black on the original, as I recall, but obviously when I hit this with Pinkalicious, I had to redo it with the pink too, or redo the black in it as well. And I did do, like marker lights and that kind of thing. But, and like the red taillights, you can't really see because once it's Pinkalicious, they kind of hide. But there's something, the Pinkalicious paint was messing up on me too, the paint can. And when I got that paint years ago, geez, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, it was on clearance at Michael's at the time. Lord knows if they even still make that paint. And it's a very peculiar paint in that it's not really designed for this, as far as I could tell. They talk about painting paper with it. But it's worked wonderfully for me. And I love the color that comes out of this. This body was in fantastic shape because it had Spectraflame paint on it already. And when you strip a Spectraflame paint job, at least I'm always amazed at the quality of the polish that's on there. It's such a high shine. I don't know that I've ever been able to achieve that kind of shine, or would be able to, like that from the factory. And here I had a wee bit of a brain fart trying to put this back together. It's like, oh, wait a second, here we go. Oh yeah, I got to flip it the other way. But before we forget the purpose of this build, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And there's an excellent organization, Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, that I've chosen to contribute to in the past and will continue to do so again this year because I love the work they do. And there'll be something about them right here, and I do have their website listed for you there. And last year I also contributed to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, not specifically a cancer organization, but I contributed to that as well last year. But as far as cancer goes, this organization is fantastic. So if you're considering making a donation this month, I highly recommend that organization. And I've contributed to them in the past and will definitely continue to do so far into the future. So there you see the original Rockster. I love this casting. It's such a fantastic little casting. I was really surprised at how it was constructed, what went into it. Hot Wheels put a lot of thought into how this went together. And I did this to it. I just made it pink. I love the look of it. I didn't put a license plate on it. I thought about it, and honestly, it's unfortunate this year that I was rushed for time on this because of the problems with the Kombi, but I'm still really happy with this build. I think it looks great in pink. That's not to say that I won't snap at some point, strip it again, and go Gaslands with it, but anyhow, there's where it ended up. There's some glamour shots coming up. Be sure and check out all of the other participants in this event. Again, the 4 Horsemen are hosting the event this year. I thank them for that. And everybody, keep the purpose of this build in mind. And thank you for watching these videos. And I truly appreciate it. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there. And I'll catch you in the next one.